This is The Gorge. This is a podcast where my friend Sara and I gorge ourselves on overanalyzing a game or game-related topic. This week, we're going back to Inaba to talk about Persona 4 for the PS2, PS3, and PlayStation Vita.
Yeah, I'm ready to get real nostalgic because we're finally talking characters, right?
That's Oh yeah, this is the character breakdown, and because you and I have done nothing but play P5 since it came out.
No, well, I have done nothing but play P5 since it came out. You fucked off at the beach for a week, and then you came home and played P5. Yeah, I'm like, I hit the 60-hour mark last night, and I'm like, oh my god, what do I do?
I think I'm at 49.
Really?
Yeah.
You sure?
It's in the 40s, I know that.
Cause like I'm two dungeons ahead of you at this point, so it can't just be 10 hours. It's got to be. It can't be 49.
I'll have to check after this. Yeah, but whatever. The point is, I've been playing it for a long time.
We've played a lot of P5, and we're gonna talk about Persona 4 now. Whoops.
Yeah, because we're not done with Persona 5 yet, so we can't I'm not going to be done with it until I actually I'm not going to say I'm done until I actually do the social links I want to do in P5.
Right. Yeah. It's not finished until... Really, you're not done with a Persona playthrough until you've beaten it once, and then halfway beaten it again. Then you can, talk about it, intelligently. You know what I mean? Because, all the plot shit that happened at the end of the game is now relevant to the beginning of the game, so now you're going...
Oh, that's what that cutscene meant.
Exactly. So, that's when you're finally, for real, finished with a Persona game, is when you've played it 1.5 times, actually.
Yeah, when you get to, the middle of the second act, and you're like, oh, now everything makes sense.
Adachi, you bastard! That's all playthrough 2 of Persona 4 actually is just you going... Oh, you smug son of a bitch! Oh. You know? I
see you, villain!
I see what you're doing here, you bastard! You're not that clever, except you kind of are. Shit!
Yeah.
So yeah, fuck. I don't want to cast any... To start with, I don't want to cast any judgments on P5 while we're talking about P4, but I do want to get this out of the way so that when we do eventually talk about P5, you can understand. Everything I've played of P5 so far, all of the social links I've done, all of the story I've seen, the story is better, the social links are not. Persona 4 still reigns supreme as probably the best cast of characters you'll ever meet in a JRPG. 100%. 100%. As much as I really am enjoying P5 and all of its kids, I love all of those kids, P4 is still the god king of the franchise.
Out of the ones that I've done so far, there are only a few, in P5, and to be fair, I haven't done all of them yet, so maybe there's characters that I haven't even talked to yet that are like, oh my god, you're the coolest. But, P4, the ones in P5, there aren't a lot that I'm like, I have to talk to you today.
Yeah, exactly. And meanwhile, P4 is pretty much nothing but that.
Yeah.
You know? There's, maybe 2 social links in P4 that I just never feel compelled to do. One is the sun, because both of those storylines I really don't care anything about. I really can't think of a third one right now. Or the second one right now. I guess Margaret's, but you can do Margaret's in a day, so that doesn't count, you know? Yeah, it's really just the sun that doesn't have... Oh, no, the tower, the little shit kid.
Yeah. I didn't like his either.
It's just so... whatever, you know? He's just a little spoiled kid, and, whatever.
We should do an episode of the social links. That should be the third part of Persona.
Yeah, I agree. We should break down social links at some point, because P4 has a lot of really good social links.
They're all really good.
P4 has a lot of really, really good ass social links. To really kind of help drive home how fucking good this game. I mean, God, you really can't. It is so hard to put into words just how good the character writing in P4 really is. Like, I mean, we're gonna try.
Yeah, we're gonna give our best effort, but like we could probably do an entire like serial podcast about Persona 4.
Oh, for sure. I feel like we could like turn into a Persona like podcast with just as much as we have to say about it, because it's like there's the general game itself, which is what we talked about last time, and then there's the main characters, and then there's the sub characters, there's the pacing in the plot, there's just like all the weird like side shit and like the music. I mean, everything about Persona 4 is basically flawless. Like with the release of the Golden, Persona 4 is probably the only flawless video game.
It's like yeah, there's like, I can't really think of anything I don't particularly enjoy about Persona 4. Like, there are parts that I'm like, about, but there's nothing that I'm like, I don't like this part. Yeah,
there's nothing in Persona 4 that makes me go, I want to replay P4, oh no, I'll have to do this part again, never mind. Like, like Ymir Forest and Symphonia is what makes you go, oh god, maybe I don't want to play Tales of Symphonia again. Stuff like that,
Yeah, exactly.
Persona 4 has none of that. Even Void Quest, which is probably the closest the game comes to having that part, is really not that bad,
Yeah, once you figure it out, like, it's not game stopping.
Yeah, it's a little annoying, but it's not like tragically horrible, like once you and yeah, it's that trick I told you, and I'm going to tell everybody listening right now, on the 7th floor of Void Quest, when the camera jerks around on you, and he got mad when I didn't tell him this thing, but I guess I thought I had told it to you, but I didn't. Anyways, on the 7th floor of Void Quest, where if you walk through the center of the where two hallways intersect and the camera will switch around on you, if you hug the wall and like kind of cut around the corner just like by the edge, it won't do that because you're not hitting that hitbox. So there's your Persona 4 pro tip to make the 7th floor of Void Quest better. I figured that out in like my 4th playthrough. I was like, holy shit, this is game changing. Oh my god. Yeah, it's totally life changing. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That bypasses one of the biggest things about that.
Yeah.
Oh, Persona 4 is so good.
It's so goddamn good. Like, fuck. And I mean, the biggest, and what we're talking about today, and what is the biggest part of what makes Persona 4 so fucking good is the main cast.
Yeah.
Because
one of, without a doubt, if not the best main cast in a JRPG that I have ever encountered.
The most likable, most relatable cast of people. Like, even the idol is like a relatable 15-year-old girl, really. Like, they are all the most, they are exactly the kind of kids you wanted to hang out with in high school, Mm-hmm. They're just nice, they're good, nice kids who have a lot of problems to work through, and all of their personal social links are really interesting, and, they're just amazing.
Well, the best thing about this is that this game is a treasure trove of character development and introspection, mm-hmm. because not only do you have the social links, you also have the shadows to give you a much darker side of their personalities and to see what they're really dealing with, not only internally but also like externally.
Mm-hmm.
That like you can't go wrong. This whole game is about pretty much nothing more than helping teenagers grow up.
I mean, yeah, that's basically what it is that you're just kind of like, you're helping a bunch of 16 and 17-year-old kids just work through their hang-ups and understand that, like, it's okay to have flaws, because basically that's what all of the shadows are about, is, like, trying to deny the fact that you have some pretty fucked up character flaws, but like everybody has. That's the whole point of Persona 4, is that literally everybody has these issues, and that doesn't make you a bad person, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's what Persona 4 is about, is that, you know, yeah, you have all these problems, and yeah, maybe you hate living in your shitty small town, or you're jealous of your best friend, or all of this shit, you know? Like, sure, you've got those feelings, but, like, everybody does. That's, like, normal. And that's what makes Persona 4 so good, is that it's just kind of like a whole game about saying, like, yeah, you've got issues. It's okay. Everybody does.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god.
And I think what really helps with that, and, like, what makes this game so relatable and why it's so easy to connect with, is because, like, it's so grounded and, like, really low key up until, like, the very end, where it, like, the last boss is kind of a world save thing. But, like, you're catching a guy that killed 2 people.
Yeah, it's not even like a crazy... I mean, like, they think it is. That's the kind of the red herring of the story, is that, like, you think it's somebody either killing or trying to kill a bunch of people, but, like, even the killer's body count isn't that high, which is a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, if it was like 20 people, that would be like, that's unreasonable, you know? But it's 2. That's like a realistic number. That's such a weird... You know what I'm saying?
It's one of those things where it's impossible to put into words what you mean, but, like, I get what you mean. Like,
totally.
It's...
Like, it's unreasonable to think that, like, some dude killing, like, 100 people wouldn't get caught by the cops. Yeah. You know? But, like, 2? Yeah, that can fly under the radar. It happens all the time. It,
like, in comparison to other JRPG bosses, or even in comparison to, like, other sort of, like, you know, grounded in reality series like this, and in comparison to that, like, the main villain's, like, impact on society is relatively low, and it's exclusive to this small backwood town in, you know, somewhere in Japan.
Like, rural-ass Japan. Like, there's really... And, I mean, like, the whole point of kind of, like, one of the other, like, themes of Persona, and it's kind of a running theme of the whole franchise, is, like, the fleeting interests of people, you know? Or what kind of captures society's attention. Because, like, after a few months, the murders, people kind of forget about them, you know? Like, oh, they happened, and they never caught the guy, technically, so we're just gonna talk about Rise Kujikawa coming to town now, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's a really grounded-ass story in some really normal shit. It's, I was telling... You know, on my other podcast, I was talking to Saturn about how, like, really, Persona 4 doesn't have much of a, like, actual story, like, until late October.
Yeah, up until then, it's very much, like, kind of like, almost Monster of the Week.
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, you know, you just go through the motions of, okay, here's the new character, and you go through their dungeon, and then you do that, and, like, we find out that, like, they're not really related in any way. They're just kind of sequential events, and then the story kicks in late in. And, yeah, I'm going to bring it up. That's also why Part 4 is so good.
Right.
It's because it's the same beat, where it's like, this isn't a concurrent story of sequence of events. Like, this isn't an overarching plot, really. It's a bunch of short stories, basically.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, it's like, you know, 2 people get killed and then nothing happens until October. Now hang out with your friends until, you know, your little sister gets kidnapped. And then nothing really happens, and yet somehow it still manages to be some of the best and most compelling character writing in a JRPG ever.
Yeah, exactly. It's more like a soap opera or a sitcom than it is like an adventure.
Yeah, but it works because like there's no, like, really, there's a plot for sure, but it's a pretty, like, skin and bones plot from, you know, the end of May to October. Like, you've got this huge span of time that's just kind of like, hey, here's a massive chunk of time to just kind of explore these characters and figure out, like, what they're like and get to really, really know them as people. That if the game had a more locked in plot, like a real story beats kind of thing happening, you wouldn't really have a chance for that, you know?
Yeah,
like, that's what makes Persona 4 so good.
It's like, you know, there's no plot to get in the way of all this character development.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you don't have to shoehorn in a plot to go along with character development. You can just kind of let the characters do their own thing for months. It's amazing. It's so good. Oh my god.
So, like, which, this is probably going to be very long, because we're going to go through the 8 party members, and, like, just, there's so much to say about every single one of them, including the one that has no character, because you are him.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a good place to start, because I'm not going to call him Yuna Arakami, because it's a stupid name.
Yeah.
It's Soji. Sorry, guys.
It's Soji. Like, I keep thinking about this, like, the thing with Yuna Arakami is that it's so on the nose that of course that's his Japanese name.
Right?
His name is Yu. Like, okay.
Thanks, guys.
You know what did that really well? Mm-hmm. The Animal Crossing movie, which is a cartoon fun animal movie for babies. Where they have a character named You and a character named I. Okay?
Oh, sorry guys. It's just... okay, I think what, like, offends me, and maybe it's because, like... Okay, I think what it is in part is that the manga is not readily available. In fact, it's a total bitch to try and read the manga for Persona 4, because, like, it's kind of, like, sparsely translated, and, like... It keeps getting, like, it doesn't have, like, I think it actually, it does have an official release in the United States. It's just really hard to get those books, but, like, because of that, it's really hard to find the scans on the internet, because they keep getting copyright notices. So, like, it's really hard to read the Persona 4 manga. So, when you name your character Soji, you're just kind of naming him that because that's his name for, like, your game character, right? Like, to me, Soji is like the Persona 4 video game protag. Yuna Arakami is the protagonist of the terrible anime.
You know what? Yeah, I can relate to that. I can get behind that.
Yeah, like, that's what it is that Yuna Arakami is the main character of the really, really bad Persona 4 anime. And it's bad, homie.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about that last time, but yeah, like, it's worth repeating that, yeah, the anime is... It's not great, and neither is Golden, and, like, it's just, like, what a wasted opportunity to have a really good anime, and you didn't do it right.
I guess that's why you have part 4 of the anime.
Yeah, exactly. If you want if you want the good Persona 4 anime, just go watch go watch Diamond is Unbreakable.
I mean, that's pretty much it, yeah.
But you know what? Fucking David Pro should do the animes from now on for Persona, because... They have style out the ass.
No, clearly A1 Pictures does have style out the ass, because they did the fucking Persona 3 anime movies, and those look like Jesus shat them out of his butt. They look so good. Like, clearly A1 Pictures is capable. They just choose to not be. You know? Like, they just kind of decide to just not. Because it's Persona 4 and it's gonna sell anyways. Kill me now. Anyways, Yuna Arakami is the protagonist of the terrible, terrible anime. And Soji is the protagonist of the very, very good video game. There's my distinction. And
Soji is... It's weird to say this because he doesn't really have much personality, but he is one of my favorite protagonists in anything.
I know, it's kind of weird to, like, be as fond of him as I am, because, like, he has no real, like the protagonist in 5 has a lot of personality for a guy who isn't supposed to have any, But, like, Soji really is, like, a total blank slate. Even his character design is very, like, it's neutral colors, it's gray hair, it's gray eyes, it's black and white outfits. It's all, like, a literal blank slate. Like, he is
very visual novel protagonist.
He is. No, a visual novel protagonist has brown hair. Come on, dude.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. You're right.
But, like, even, like, the protagonist in 3 has more character in his design. You know exactly what kind of guy Minato is, but, like, Soji is, like, a literal visual blank slate, and yet, for some crazy reason, I think it's just because, like, I've played this game so many times, I know exactly what kind of a character he is in my head.
Yeah, that's really what it is. Like, it's a lot of it is, like, our own personal extrapolation of the character.
Yeah.
And, like, a lot of it is people's characters' reactions to his actions, and, like... well, for one thing, like, this is just me, like... And I get the idea behind, like, transplanting yourself onto the character of this game. I've never done that in any game. Like, I've never, like, played a video game, and, like, even a game like Tony Hawk or Rock Band, where you can create your own character... I've never made myself. Like, I've never done that, and like I'll connect to a character, and I'll, like, you know, kind of, like, transplant my bits of my personality onto them, and kind of choose, like, what would I pick in this situation, but I always treat them as if they're a character, and not, like, an extension of me.
I only did that once, and it was for Mass Effect, and I think that's why the Mass Effect 3 ending offended me so much. It was because I felt like BioWare was actually punching me in the face. But otherwise, no, I've never done that. Like, yeah, now that I think about it, like, other than Shepard, I tend to just make my own, whatever I think looks cool, or, like, I just kind of build, I don't really, like, put my own personality on blank slate characters like Chrono and Soji and stuff like that, you know, you just kind of build their personalities around, like you said, what their, like, dialogue options are, and kind of what the way people react to them, and their own kind of weird hidden quirks, like Soji's amazing obsession with cats.
Yeah, exactly. You
stare longingly into the cat's eyes so it can feel your affection. Stuff like that, you know? That's how you build, like, a character around a person who is not technically supposed to have any character. And it just makes him, like, what you get from the result is, like, a really likable, weird kid.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, what's that one anime? It's like, Yes, I Am Sakamoto, I think.
Yes.
Where it's like the guy's just, like, a natural perfectionist and he can't be fumbled at all.
He's just, like, always cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the game, like, for Soji, that's what it pushes on you, is that this guy's, like, naturally charming and charismatic, but in kind of, like, a weirdo way. You know, where it's like, you know, he goes fishing at night and he's obsessed with cats, and, like, but, like, he does it so straight-faced that you're like, well, that's kind of charming in a way, I guess.
He just kind of owns all of his weird personality quirks, and I think it's just, like, a thing you wish you could be like. You wish you could be as comfortable with how weird you are as Soji is with himself, you know? Like, you just want to be as cool with yourself as this kid clearly is.
Exactly.
Like, I wish I could go fishing at night and not feel like a total weirdo, and I would, you know? Like, if I went fishing at night at the lake near my house, I'd be like, I probably look like a serial killer. And this kid's just chilling and doing his thing.
Yeah.
But it makes him really likable. I can't help it. You know?
Exactly. Like, he's so endearing as a character, because you get this idea that he's, like, a perfectionist, and, like, he always has to be, like, in control, and, like, that's really where, like, his faults lie in, is that, like, you get the sense that he takes on way more responsibility than he should, and he's kind of like afraid to ask for help because so many people rely on him.
Yeah. And it kind of makes sense, because, I mean, like, this is a kid who thinks, like, yeah, I should probably try and help my alcoholic uncle, you know? Instead of just, like, living in his attic, you know, his storage room for a year, he's like, I should help my alcoholic uncle. Like, that's, you know, normal teenagers don't do that kind of thing. teenagers with some problems who think they need to save the world do. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And I like that. And, I mean, he gets a little bit more personality in Arena and Ultimax.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
And I know they name him Yu, but he doesn't really act like the Yu in the animes, so, like, it's kind of a weird thing. Like,
well, it was kind of like shocking how much he talked in Arena and Ultimax, because, like, yeah, the anime treats him as a very stoic character who doesn't really say a whole lot, but, like, in the fighting games, like, he's joking around and he's going on, he's talking to everyone else and he's being kind of a cut up, and it's like, oh well,
like this is the character I always imagined he was. Like, that's like, even with as much as I don't like the name Yu Narukami, I was so glad that he was basically exactly the way I kind of always figured he was when the fighting games rolled around, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it was so nice to be like, I was
right! He is a very leader character, you know? You don't... In a lot of JRPG, like, especially in the Tales games, you know, like, we've played, like... Would you say that, like, Luke or Lloyd are leaders?
Nah. Well, Lloyd a little bit, but definitely not Luke. I wouldn't let Luke lead a church choir, much less a group of people to save the world, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Or like Final Fantasy, like, would you say Tidus is a leader?
No, Jesus God, no.
Yeah, like, there are protagonists and there's leaders, and, like,
right.
For especially, like, considering his predecessor, Minato, like, Minato is not a leader.
No, Minato barely wanted to be there, it seems like. That's why, like, female protag is so much better, by the way. Fuck you, Atlas, use canon, I'll fight all of you. Yeah, it kind of feels like Soji is, like, kind of the linchpin of the whole group. Like, if he wasn't there, I don't think they would be able to function as well, you know?
No, not at all. Like, and that it really comes through, like, mechanically as well, because consider, you know, the direct command option didn't become available until P3, or till P4, and, like, yeah, because Minato wouldn't be the kind of guy to actually give orders, whereas Soji absolutely is.
And I mean, yeah, for sure, it's kind of like, you really get the sense that in this game, especially, if Soji wasn't there, they probably wouldn't be the same. They probably wouldn't be a successful group, because he just kind of is the, like, unifying factor for all of these weird, disparate personalities. Like, even before Minato shows up in P3, Mitsuru was doing a pretty damn good job playing leader, you know? And she still kind of was. Like, yeah, Minato was, like, squad leader, but, like, Mitsuru was in charge, you know?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, so, yeah, like, Soji, kind of that's what really gives him his character appeal, is that he does feel very important, you know? Like, it feels like he has to be there for all of this to work. And, I mean, considering what happens in the plot, that's exactly what it is. If Soji hadn't come to Inaba, nobody would have gotten their persona because of his weird touching people gives them superpowers thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's also the other thing I just want to, like, Minato doesn't have social links with most of the party members besides the girls.
Yeah, it's only with the waifus. Which is, I mean, that's such a strange, like, it seems so obvious, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, because, like, I went from P4 to P3. Like, I tried P3 after beating P4, and I'm like, wait, what? Junpei doesn't have a social link?
Yeah, it's this shit kid named Kenji is your magician social link? What?
What? No. Why? Well, then, how am I going to get their character development if I can't do their social link? Like, what?
No, that's why, again, P3 protag female version is the best character. Obviously she's the best choice, so whatever. Because, like, she gets social links with everybody, and they're all really good-ass social links, turns out. Like, that seems so... Like, when Atlas was making Persona 3, how did that not seem obvious to them, you know?
Right? Yeah, I mean, I guess they just had that much faith in their story, but, like, it's right there. Like...
It's so easy. There's 4 extra slots that easily fill up your social link requirements.
Yeah, you don't have to think of a bunch of shit characters that we weren't going to really care about. Like, you have 4 that we're going to care about more than the side characters, so give it to them.
I don't even know the name of the Emperor social link in P3 that isn't Akihiko. Like, I know he's the student council president guy. I don't know his name. I couldn't tell you. He's just such a nothing rules character that I'm just kind of like, I don't think I got 3 ranks with him. Like, that's the kind of thing we're talking about here. I don't even think I hung out with him that much. Because I was just so immediately bored with his character. When I could have been hanging out with Akihiko and his weird obsession with protein and working out. Like, come on, guys, it's not hard. Yeah. So, Soji is awesome. I guess that's kind of the point we're trying to make in all this, is that Soji is a bro.
He's great. He's a great character. And speaking of bros, there is his best friend, his Yuri Lowenthal to his Johnny Young Bosch. They're back to being best friends again.
I'm so glad this is just a running theme with these two. Do you think they're best friends in real life?
I would imagine that they are at least close.
I want to
considering they've done at least 3 like major franchises where they play best friends.
Wait, what's the other one?
It's Tales of the Abyss, it's Persona 4, and it is Code Geass.
Oh, that's right!
Johnny Young Bosch plays the protagonist, the main character, I can't remember his name.
Lelouch, or...
Lelouch, that's it.
Lelouch,
and then,
I don't actually know how to say his name.
And then, Yuri Lowenthal plays Suzaku. Okay,
cool. Jeez, look at that. Okay. Yeah, they're besties no matter where they go. I guess just because they've got like buddy voices, you know. Yosuke is like not my favorite character. I know he's one of your favorite characters, so this would be a good time for you. But I like Yosuke. I mean, I don't hate Yosuke. I'm just kind of like, in the grand scheme of P4 characters, I would pick other characters before Yosuke. You know, like that's all. That's it. You know, it's not like I hate Yosuke.
He was kind of the character that I was just like, okay, he's the best friend character. And then again, as you do his social link and you really get to know his deal, you really see like what's behind all that. Mm-hmm. And like you're like, oh yeah, I can totally relate to, like, I can totally connect to that like idea of you're kind of like brash and cocky and like you kind of like you're defensive. Mm-hmm. Because, you're constantly on guard because you had a rough time when you first got here and you're used to people, like, looking at you with disdain.
Yeah, and everybody wants something from you. Like those bitchy... God, I hate those girls in his social links so much!
As someone who's worked in retail...
Oh my god, right?
If someone did that, I would probably punch them.
I would probably put them through a wall. I couldn't even imagine... like, being that level of selfish, but it's a realistic level of selfish, too, you know? Like, it's not, again, some overdone shit. It's people you probably know in the real world, and that's why you hate them so much. Like... Exactly.
It's like, that exact thing is something I could see happening to me.
Yeah. Where it's like, these... just every time I think about just, like, as soon as they don't get their way, they walk 3 steps away from him and immediately start talking shit about him and Saki, I'm always like, why didn't... I love that there is an option to tell them to shut the fuck up.
Right? Yeah, that's the best.
I slap my controller every time. I'm like, you shut your whore mouths. Because, like, God, Yosuke isn't my favorite character, but I still like him, and I don't think anybody deserved to be talked like that, you know?
No. Not at all.
Fuck off, you bitches. Like, you massive bitches. It's so frustrating, too, because you just feel like you could never tell them off enough.
Right?
know?
And then, like, to make it worse is he has that line, like, afterwards where he's like, I better go talk to them and smooth it over. And it's like, dude, you don't have to.
You don't have to.
They're not your responsibility.
I know. And it's like, but he feels like they are because it's his dad's place. And you know, if your parent, God, again, okay, so one of the things, and I'll get into this later, is one of the reasons that Persona 4, I think, kind of stuck its fingers in me as tightly as it has, was I played Persona 4 for the first time after I had moved. I had been dragged away from my life in, like, a cool, like, trendy college town to a small middle of nowhere's rural town where I had no friends and didn't know anybody.
So you were Soji.
I was Soji. Yeah, it was when, like, my mom moved us from the city to Coleman, because it was cheaper, you know? And, like, I played this game, and it felt so relatable. It was so much more just, like, I understood, and to have even this bullshit where my dad is a local business owner, and he says to me all the time, you've got to be on your best behavior in the store, because it reflects poorly on me. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's so frustrating. So you understand entirely, like, where these characters are living and where they're coming from, to have just, like, none of these people are your responsibility, but you still have to be nice to them because it's all about, in these little small towns like that, it's all about reputation, you know?
Yeah. And it's also the fact that, like, what he has to put up with is, like, okay, his dad moves and then he opens up a big major, like, outlet store. Mm-hmm. And, like, they're running the local shops out of business because they're the corporation, and they can get all that. And, like, he's not dealing with physical violence. He's not dealing with actual protests. He's dealing with people being, oh, it's the Hanamura kid.
Yeah, it's just people turning their nose up at him, and he's just a kid. It's not his fault.
He's like 16 years old. He doesn't have any control over what happens.
He didn't ask to be moved out to bumfuck Egypt, yeah. Like, he has no control over any of this. But, like, grown-ass people treat him poorly for something he can't control, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, if you've ever been 16, you know what that feels like. Because at some point, some shitty adult has, like, treated you badly just because you're a teenager, you know? Like, it's a really relatable, and you're like a kid, so you can't really do or say anything back to them.
Yeah.
That would have any impact or change their mind, because then all of it would just reinforce this idea that you're some shit kid, you know?
Yeah, exactly. He can't confront them. He can't talk back because all that would do is just it would vindicate them.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's so frustrating, and it all boils down to those two bitches and Yosuke socially.
Exactly.
That you just want to strangle.
Like, I really feel like Yosuke gets a bad rap in the fandom because of his initial actions and his characterization, and this is going to be a theme, like, a lot for this recording, because it happens to every single Persona 4 character, where it's like, do you forget that this game is literally about character development?
Yeah, right? Like, that's literally the whole point of the game, because, like we just said, there isn't a whole lot of plot in this game, so, like, for 7 months, the game is about character development, and that's it! Like, how did you forget? Like, did you just not pay attention?
Like, yeah, did you play, like, up until, like, the middle of the game and then just zone out for the rest of it? Like, they couldn't have made Yosuke's character development any more obvious. He is the first major social link you get. He's the first party member you get. He's almost always available. Like, and he's like the mouthpiece of the party because Soji can't talk.
Right.
So, like, he tends to vocalize whatever Soji's, like, thinking.
Right. He's the player avatar in a way. Like, or the audience surrogate. There's the term.
Yeah.
Yosuke is the audience surrogate, and, like, he's a 16-year-old boy who sometimes says shitty things. I mean...
It happens! Have you ever met a 16-year-old boy before?
I have a 16-year-old brother. All he says is shitty things. Sorry. He literally only has one setting.
Yeah.
And it's to say shitty things. Please, talk to a few 16-year-olds before you actually... I beg any of the people... Like I said, Yosuke's not my favorite just because, like, I like other characters more. But, like, he is relatably 16, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he does and says shitty things. Sometimes he's kind of an asshole. But, like, generally has a good heart. You know?
I mean...
There's a few parts in the game that deal with him and Kanji that make me uncomfortable, and frankly, I just chalk that up to Japan. I don't chalk that up, you know, that's just Japanese social crap that, like, I'm not too qualified to make criticisms of, but I can say it makes me uncomfortable, but, like, that's just Japan being them. And, like, I don't think that should reflect on, like, the character when every other time he's a nice, thoughtful kid who just sometimes says dumb shit.
Sometimes his brain just stops and something stupid rolls out of his mouth, or something he does something stupid. Like, it's gonna happen. All of the characters do that in this game.
Yeah, like, the thing is that, like, everybody acts like it's just Yosuke. It's not. It's everybody. Like,
everyone in this party does something stupid and insensitive at some point because they're kids.
Like, they're teenagers. I can't emphasize this enough. These games are about 16 and 17-year-old kids. Like, what do you expect them to be like? Were you just never 16? Or do you think you're some sort of, like, special angel child who's never said anything wrong ever?
Exactly. Like, and to be entirely honest, like, for what Yosuke has to put up with, like, I would have said way more horrible things.
Yeah.
Like, I always think of the part where Chie literally spends all the money he has and then just brushes it off, and I'm like, I would have tackled her.
I would have actually slapped her in the teeth because, like, that's my money. How dare you? I mean, like, you know, these are just teenagers doing shitty, thoughtless things because sometimes your friends can do shitty, thoughtless things. Everybody does it. Everybody did it. Welcome to being 16. You know, like, that's what Yosuke is. He's just the most relatably 16-year-old character in the game.
It's one of those things where it's like, the more I see people talking about how bad of a character Yosuke is, the more I actually end up liking him.
Just out of spite.
Yeah, I will revenge like this character.
Just because I hate you people so much. Welcome to being me, Ben. That's what I'm like every single day. That's what being an Adachi fan is. All of the time. That's literally... Ah, shit! My microphone just fell over.
Oh, no!
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
Wait, we won't stop the recording. I'm sorry.
No, okay.
I was trying to sit up and I knocked my microphone over. Okay. I'm back. All is well.
Okay.
But yeah, no, like, whatever. You know, Yosuke's a good kid, and he gets better.
He tries.
He tries. And he gets to be the protagonist of the Arena manga, and it's awesome.
Yeah, which is, like, really surprising. And, like, I really want to imagine that, like, for the Arena manga, I might have mentioned this last week, but it really feels like the way the course of the manga went is that, like, Yosuke being the protagonist kind of took the writers by surprise, too. Because, like, it starts off and it's Soji, you know, like, it's clearly Soji's story, and then, like, the more they wrote it, it's like Yosuke just kind of ended up being the hero, and it's like, I kind of imagine, like, while the writers were, like, you know, taking the rough drafts down, they're like, you know, he kind of just turned, like, because that happens when you're writing. Like, a scene will get away from you, and you'll be like, oh, well, I didn't expect this, but I'm happy with it.
everything worked out better than I expected. Cool.
Yeah.
Sure. Yosuke is the protagonist of the Arena manga is actually pretty dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and it's a really good-ass manga, and you should go read it, because the art is amazing. Oh my god. Please go read the Arena manga. It's a really good way to get the whole story of Arena without actually having to play the game. Because, like, we should probably podcast. God, we'll be talking about Persona 4 until we're like 80.
Oh
so I
my
was about
god,
to
of course
suggest
we
we should talk about Arena and Ultimax at some point. And we should.
We probably should. We probably should do that.
We probably should, because they're pretty good too.
It's fun.
They're pretty fun. And like the problem with Arena is that it's like telling the same story 70 times from 70 different perspectives, but it changes based on who you're playing the storyline as. And like that's why the Arena manga is so good, is you get the whole story without all of that weird crazy shit in the middle. Anyways, go read the Arena manga. Yosuke is awesome.
Mm-hmm. Also, Jiraiya is like one of the coolest looking designs for Persona.
Okay, and Susanoo O is like not, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I don't like Susanoo. Susanoo. Fuck it.
What the fuck? However you say it.
Yeah. Jiraiya looks way cooler. Mm-hmm. And then what's the Afro one? I can never remember their third level personas.
It's like still it's Susanoo O something or other, because it's like a leveled up Susanoo O. But I don't know. I don't actually know how to say the persona's name. Yeah. I'm sorry. Somebody's gonna tell me on Twitter that I did it wrong. Yeah. Go fuck yourself.
But he's got a fire afro, and he looks better because he has a giant fire afro.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you know, Ninja Frog is still definitely the coolest.
Yeah. Jiraiya looks awesome.
Jiraiya is awesome looking, okay? Like, it's really cool. You almost wish you didn't max his social link, just so you could, like, keep it that way. But, like, then his persona gets, like, different, like, resistances and stuff when you level it up, so you're like, fine, I'll do it. And the special ability that Yosuke gets with his third tier persona in the Golden is really, really good.
It heals and then increases evasion, right?
Yes, it's super broken because of that.
That's just, like, unbelievably broken.
You don't actually need to have a healer anymore. Like, you can just have, like, Soji and Yosuke, and if you want to, like, have 2 tanks, you can now, because Yosuke can handle healing duty at this point. Like, it's kind of crazy.
And, like, it's... like, the evasion stat is deceptively useful. Like, upping your evasion is, like, that's way more helpful than you would think. So it's just so broken.
Yeah, I honestly played through, like, the first half of P4. Like, I didn't realize how useful the evasion stat was until, I think it was, like, Shadow Mitsuo, where I was, like, having the hardest time. And I was finally just like, I'll try anything. And I tried the evasion thing, and I was like... oh my god, this changes everything. Because it doesn't just up your evasion, it also ups your accuracy. So, like, those hard-hitting attacks that usually miss, so that's why you don't use them as much, now they hit more. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you should definitely keep Yosuke with you at all time, because Masuku Kaja is incredible. Okay, we've talked about Yosuke too much. I feel like I still had too much to say, but we're already at like the hour mark. Shit.
Oh, yeah, we might. I don't know. We'll figure out as we get further in. We'll figure out what we have to do. But yeah, so we should move on to the next party member, which is Chie. What were we gonna say?
No, I said you're right. We should move on to Chie, and the good Chie, the one voice acted by Tracy Rooney.
Yes. Oh, we talked about this last week, but yeah, like, whenever I think of Chie, it's Tracy Rooney's voice. It's not, you know...
Erin Fitzgerald's terrible, squeaky... It's her Tipo voice, but on a 17-year-old girl.
Yeah, no, it's Tracy Rooney is obviously the Chie.
The superior Chie. Everybody should think that. And there are people who try to look me in the eye and tell me that Tracy Rooney doesn't sound like a 17-year-old girl, and I'm like, I'm going to put you through a wall. I'm going to actually slap you. How dare you say those words to me? How dare you? Like, there's nothing about... Okay, we can't have this conversation.
She sounds like...
Really, there's nothing... There's nothing about Erin Fitzgerald's voice that sounds like a normal person.
Exactly. She does not sound like a Japanese teenager. She sounds like a character.
Yeah, she sounds like she's doing a voice. Like, she's not just talking the way normal people talk. She's doing an anime girl voice. Like, there's a difference, people. But that's it. We're not going to talk about the voice issue anymore after that. Because Chie is amazing.
Chie's so fun.
Chie is so good. Chie is so good. I love... Chie is, like, either my, like, fourth favorite character, maybe. Sometimes third. It really kind of waffles. Because I love all of her character quirks. I love the fact that I love the running joke of her just kind of saying whatever comes to mind and it ends up being right.
Chie's great because, like, she's kind of one of my favorite types of characters, which is the character who has such a thin veil of keeping it together at all times.
Yeah.
Like, she's putting on the effort to seem like she's not a walking disaster, but it's not a very good effort.
She's not very successful in hiding it. Right.
Yeah.
I like Chie because I like that character too, who, like, kind of thinks she's dumb. Like, she thinks she's dumb, but then she says things and it's like, oh, Chie's not dumb at all. Like, Chie's actually pretty smart when she wants to be. Like, she's way more perceptive than, say, Kanji.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But she thinks that she's dumb, and it's like, no, you're actually pretty great, kid. And she's just, you know, I think her and Yukiko's friendship is one of the best parts of Persona 4 because it just feels really genuine.
Yeah.
And by friendship, I, of course, mean true romance.
Yeah, oh yeah, they are...
Me.
Like, anyone who actually does romance Chie and Yukiko, it's like, wait, did you not pick up on the whole Prince Charming thing?
Yeah, the part where Yukiko's shadow is like, Chie's my prince, and I was like, go on! Gudu say more, yeah. You mean you think Chie is the perfect prince? I'm so glad. Come on, people. Like, the only good part of the Persona 4 anime is the bit where they made it gayer.
Yep.
You know? Like, the bit in it with the flashback and the crying and there's fire everywhere and you're just like, this is the gayest thing ever and I love it. That is the best part of Persona 4. 100%. Or Persona 4 the anime, excuse me.
Yep.
Because it's good. And I mean, really, why would you... It's just like romancing Naoto. Don't be the green Madoka.
Yeah, don't be green Madoka.
Do not be the green Madoka. Come on.
Don't break up that relationship, dude.
That's like hitting on your best friend's girl. Don't do it. It's rude.
And like her whole social link revolves around being a better person for Yukiko.
Exactly. She's like, I want to be stronger for Yukiko, and I want to protect the town where me and Yukiko live. And it's like, girl, you're not even trying, are you? You're not even trying. Come on, it's so good. Like, all of Chie's social link is really like, I don't think her social link stands out compared to other, like, really, really good ones. Like, it's weird, because I like Chie more than, say, Yosuke. But I like Yosuke's social link more than I like Chie's.
Yeah, Chie's, it's one that I'm never quite sure, like, what it's supposed to be about, you know?
Yeah.
Like, the events that happen in it just kind of feel, like, a little bit lackluster compared to some of the other ones. They aren't quite as memorable. Mm-hmm. Like, there's the one where you confront the bullies.
Yeah, in the alley.
And that's really, like, about it as far as, like, memorable scenes in her social link.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, I guess that's kind of supposed to be, like, the climax of her social link, but, like, it just kind of feels weak in comparison to other ones, and I think, I mean, I don't know, I guess because they just didn't really know, like, how to handle, like, what Chie wanted to kind of do with her life, which is, you know, go be a cop. But, like, I don't know, it helps that, you know, her characterization in the rest of the game is so strong. And so likable, like all of the little scenes where she's just like the smart, friendly, she just is a good friend, except for the parts again where she kind of screws with Yosuke. But like in general, she's a good friend and a good kid, and it's just kind of like it didn't really translate that well to her social link, which is strange.
Yeah, it's like hers is kind of like, I would say, like, because I love her character, like you said, like her character's great, and she plays a very important role in the actual story, but like on terms of like ranking just social links in general, hers is not. It doesn't really stand out the way others do.
Yeah, it's a little bit lower on the list of just like general goodness, I guess.
Yeah,
like it's better than the Tower Kid and the other one who I'm already forgetting. Like, there's like a handful of them. It's like way better than those, but like the Sun Girls, like both Sun. God, I hate both Sun social links so much. God, I hate both. I mean, like I'm at the point now where I don't even do them anymore because they're both just so like I've maxed out the game. I've gotten all the social links, so if I don't want to do one anymore, I don't have to. And I never do. I don't do theirs anymore. Just because both of them have the most boring stories. Like, I don't care about either one of them. So, like, Chie is definitely better than those, but it's really more so just because Chie is involved, not because of the story that's getting told in them,
Yeah, exactly.
But I really don't know, like, what it's supposed to be about. Like, there's...
Because the other party members have such, like, a natural progression in their story, and, like, they make it clear, like, it's about... Like, I guess hers is about, like, being stronger, but that's not really, like, a thing that we can necessarily, like, tie to the way the other characters can,
Yeah, it's not really, like, being stronger isn't as concrete as, like, Kanji coming to terms with the fact that he likes girly things, and, like, Yosuke coming to deal with the fact that Saki died and he just kind of feels shitty about himself all of the time, and like those are really concrete storylines being told in these games, right?
Yeah.
I don't really know what the concrete storyline of Chie's is, because sometimes it's about like this kid who hits on Yukiko and teases Chie, and then sometimes it's about bullies, like. But both of those storylines are kind of, like, resolved, and they don't really seem to have a lot of impact.
Yeah, like, what... I don't really know what the conclusion of her social link is.
I guess it's supposed to be, like, it's... They tell you, they don't... They kind of tell you that it's like, oh, Chie loves Inaba, and she wants to protect Inaba. But, like, I don't feel like the social link does a good job of getting that across. I mean...
It's something that's like, well, we knew that because she's involved in the investigation team.
Yeah, exactly. Like the game's story does a better job of getting that across than her social link does. So I feel like her social link could have been about something else. I don't know what.
Yeah.
And it would have worked out better. But like, as it stands, it just kind of feels really meh compared to the other character social links. Like, the other playable social links are, like, really, really good. Everybody else's is awesome. Except Chie's just kind of feels, like, secondary. I don't know. It's just not as great. I mean, she's great.
Yeah, but... her development throughout the story, like, the actual story is great, and she, she's a ray of sunshine for this party.
She's so good. And she's so tanky!
Oh, I love it.
She's so tanky. Her third tier one... What is her third tier Persona's ability? It's like, it just raises attack, right? Does it do something else?
I think it raises attack and it does something else. I can't exactly remember now.
Ah, crap. You'd think I would have this memorized after all of the times I've played the game, but
right.
I do remember it's pretty broken. It's another one of those, like, kind of game-breaking ones. But yeah. Either way, I mean, like, and all of her Persona designs are super, super good. Like, I love the Bruce Lee jumpsuit ref. Come on.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, that's so good.
oh my god, it's so good. And even her other two, her like Darth Maul lightsaber one, is really, really cool. Like, unlike losing Disco Ninja Frog to whatever the fuck Susanoo is, all of hers are like legitimate upgrades, and that's nice. Thanks, Atlas or Soejima, you got those right. Thanks, guys. So yeah, who's next? Who can be considered next? I guess
next. What do Yukiko? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you do meet Yukiko before you meet Teddy. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'm going by joins the party, like by actual playable character.
Oh.
That's how I'm doing it. At least that's how I would go down the list.
Okay, that works too. I was thinking by meeting, but that also works because it means, yeah. Either way, Yukiko is great.
She's like, I love Yukiko. She is one of the most endearing and wonderful characters in Persona. I love this beautiful psychopath.
Fuck you, Pat. Yukiko is great. I'll fight Pat. Like, if I have to go all the way to Canada to fight that guy because he, like, shit-talks Yukiko, I will, dude. We'll take this outside because Yukiko is
And you'll
great.
win because you're taller than him.
I would win. I would definitely be able to beat up this bearded Canadian man for his bad opinions about Persona waifus. Like...
That's right, Patrick Boyven of the Super Best Friends, one of the most popular and well-known Let's Play groups on the internet, with hundreds of thousands of subscribers. This podcast of 25 subscribers is calling your shit out.
I'm calling your ass out, Pat. All right, I'm calling you out right now because Yukiko is great. And so is Junpei. I'll fight you, dude. We'll take it outside and we'll fight, dude. Because how dare you? How dare you talk shit about two of the most awesome characters in this franchise? You've got shit opinions, and I think your waifu is shit. Who's his waifu?
His waifu's Rise.
Okay, well, your waifu isn't shit, but still!
No, you need to shit talk Wooly because his Chie is his waifu.
Oh, Wooly! Come on, man! Oh, for shame! A disgrace! Okay, but no, Yukiko is great because she's a crazy person!
She is so mentally unhinged, it's beautiful!
It's great! And I feel like it's not really brought up by other people enough, so I'm going to bring it up. She was really, really on board with killing Hanako.
Yeah, oh yeah, she was super on board with just like, how about we just murder her?
Why don't we just murder her to make her stop snoring? No, that's actually a bad idea, Yukiko. I love it, though. It was the best part of that whole uncomfortable sequence.
Or the part where you take her to an action movie.
Or a horror movie.
In Golden, and she's like, well, no one was laughing at the funny bits in this movie.
Yeah.
And it's like,
take her to a horror movie, and she's laughing at all, like, the scary parts. Like...
It's like, yeah, that's because you're crazy.
It's because you're an actual crazy person, Yukiko. You're an actual crazy person. I want to be in that theater, seeing the scariest movie of your life, and somebody's just getting, axe murdered, and there's a crazy harpy in the back of the audience just going,
doing her Yukiko laugh?
Yeah, you'd feel like you were about to die, for sure. Like, you would think, oh, I'm actually trapped in a theater with a crazy person right now. That's how
time to leave!
Time to die! This is it. This is how I go. Thanks. But she's great, and she's, an awesome healer / magic character too, which is also really appreciated. I don't know, Teddy is technically the secondary healer of the game, but I literally don't know anybody who uses Teddy as a
who uses Teddy as a healer?
Who uses Teddy at all?
Pretty much, yeah, none of his by the time you get Teddy, you probably already have a persona in the slot to fill the Bufu gap.
Mm-hmm.
But Yukiko is just better.
I mean, in every way. Her third tier persona ability is is leagues better, because Teddy's is based off of luck, and I hate luck-based skills, because it never turns out well for me. And hers is just burn everything, okay? Burning petals is so ridiculous if you can also use Mind Charge. Like, she's just unstoppable. She's a crazy person who pretends to be, like, the nice, adorable, lovable teenage manager character, and her persona's superpower is light everything on fire as hard as you possibly can. Oh my god.
It's like, imagine if Yukiko is like, imagine if Yuna wanted to just shank people.
You're so right. It's so true. Like, I love it about her. I love that she's the scary one, and she can just kind of turn it on. And the fact that, like, she's just a weird giggling harpy the rest of the time. She's just like a weird screeching monster who just, like, everything makes her laugh. And the gag, I don't care what anybody says. The part where they give Kanji the gag glasses is one of the funniest parts of the game.
Yeah. I love her laughing gimmick. I think it is hilarious. Because
it's amazing.
It's that awkward cringe humor, but it's so over the top that it's still funny.
Oh yeah, it totally goes back to being funny. Like, at first it's kind of cringy, and then you think about it more, and you're like, she just laughs at the stupidest shit. And the best part is when Teddy cracks a joke and she doesn't laugh, like, that's when the gag goes from good to great.
Right,
you know?
Yeah. Like, Teddy, he makes the fun about zebras, and everyone just looks at Yukiko, and she's like, what? I wasn't paying attention.
Was I supposed to laugh? And you're just like, oh, this is a good gag. It's a good gag, guys. Yeah. Yukiko, I really like her social link, too. I feel like her social link is kind of the same, would have the same problem as, Chie's, where it feels kind of directionless, but then, like, it gives it kind of a legitimate, like, villain with the TV crew, and it goes and actually kind of becomes something good, because it's, again, this idea of, like, creepy people harassing a teenager, and, I mean, when she finally gets to kind of tell them off and be like, then I'll convince your advertisers to pull, and da-da-da-da, and she scares them off, you're like, yes, vindication. It feels so good.
Yeah, hers has a much stronger climax. Like,
yeah, it has a good punch.
It has a resolution.
Yeah, which is important. Because these are all just little tiny stories, just, packed into a huge game. Little mini stories. And all stories need a build up to it, and a climax, and then resolution, And, Yukiko's handles it really well to kind of be like, this idea where she doesn't know. I mean, I really like all the little bits hearing about, like, how the inn staff kind of make fun of her for her bad cooking, and the chef, basically made her stop. It was like paining him to watch her do this. Like, these little things to see that, like, because we don't really get to see the staff at the inn at all unless it's through, Yukiko's eyes. And it's kind of interesting, because, like, you think before, like, oh, it's probably a shitty place to work. And then you actually meet the staff, and they're all kind of, like, family.
They're all really supportive of her. Like, yeah, you get, like, well, first, it's kind of interesting, because you get the glimpse of, like, yeah, the chef, like, took the ladle away from me. Mm-hmm. And then it's, like, then you get later on where one of the staff of the inn warns Yukiko, don't go near the inn, because that idiot reporter's back.
Yeah. And you get to see, like, these little things where they tease about, like, about Soji being her boyfriend, and they guess they all seem to treat her like a bunch of weird cousins instead of, like, people who are technically her employees, because they've all worked there forever, and it just kind of is, like, a really nice, charming thing to see, and to, like, get the real kind of, because, her shadow makes it seem like the inn is the worst fucking thing. And that's such a teenager thing to do, though. To kind of, like, blow the shittiness of a situation out of proportion is, like, the most 16-year-old girl thing to do ever.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, absolutely.
It's so relatable to be like, I hate this place, I hate all of you, da-da-da-da-da. And then you actually see it, and you're like, oh, it's actually not that bad. And she's just kind of, being an angry teenager, and it is kind of a shitty situation for sure to be like, well, you have to do this one thing, but like it also kind of seems like her parents really don't think she has to do it. It's just kind of like, yeah, it's tradition, but if you want to move off, you can.
They expect her to do it, but they're open to her her talking herself out of it,
Yeah. And, she was just putting, I think she even says it in her social link, she was putting all of these expectations on herself, and nobody else was doing that. She was the only person doing that to herself. Yeah. And, that's a really relatable thing, to just, to kind of psych yourself out,
And she's, like, a really good example of, like, and this is, like, for going forward for the rest of the characters, like, she is the first time where we see a shadow that is influenced by the TV, and, like, it's really, really important to note for analyzing these characters that, like, the shadows are distortions.
Yeah.
They don't truly reflect what that person's feeling. They reflect a distorted version of those like feelings.
Yeah.
And like, so when you're talking about these characters, like, that's really important to remember, because no, she doesn't hate the inn. She doesn't want to be free to go and chase after boys. That's that's her darkest emotions, coupled with the perception that the rest of Inaba has on her.
Right. Like, she expects too much of herself, and she thinks other people expect a lot of her. And I mean, like, the truth is a lot more different, And it's just kind of all of those anxieties getting blown out of proportion is what it is. And I mean, like, that's exactly kind of what the whole thing is. Like you said, is that it's your worries tend to change in your head, Like, they get worse the more you think about them.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of... That's exactly what the shadows kind of are. They're like the weird embodiment of you overthinking a problem,
Yeah, exactly. This is... Persona 4 is the adventures of, like, 7 kids and their anxiety.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much exactly what it is, yeah. 7 kids learning to deal with anxiety and a serial killer. And I think Yukiko's is one of the better examples. Like, they're really just, like, normal, relatable versions of it, where it's not like, I'm a detective, or I'm an idol, da-da-da. It's more like, my parents expect this of me, and I don't think I can live up to those expectations, and now I'm freaking out,
Yeah, she's as close in this game as you're going to get to the rebellious princess type.
Yeah. And that's exactly why her, her little inner world is a castle.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Like, she's that archetype of character, like, done through a modern, more grounded setting, and it works out really, really well for her. I love Yukiko.
Yeah. They're good kids, Brent.
They're good kids, Brent.
Okay, so next is...
Kanji.
Kanji! We might have to do a whole podcast about Kanji.
Oh, Kanji's easily the best character in Persona 4.
He's easily the best character in the whole series.
Everyone loves Kanji.
Your favorite character is Kanji, and then your real favorite character is Kanji, and then, like, your second favorite is the one you tell everybody is your favorite,
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah, you could say your favorite character is Yosuke or whatever, but it's not. Your favorite character is Kanji, because Kanji is the best character in the franchise. He's a good kid. He's a good kid with good emotions and lots of problems, and he's just trying to fit in, and he's of this is because of Troy Baker being amazing.
Yep. He's great because he plays the perfect role. If he can be the idiot, he can be the straight man, he can be whatever is needed for the scene to be.
Kanji is Go ahead.
There's nothing out of character for Kanji.
Yeah, exactly. Kanji is the perfect example of, like, the meathead who's weirdly perceptive. The part, and every time anybody says, like, why do you let them say you're not me? Well, if you played the whole game, you'd know that that's actually pretty important to, like, character development. And Kanji is the idiot who figured it out first when Naoto did it, and he's like, no, you just gotta let her do it. You know? Like, that's really...
Like, out of all the party members, Kanji's the one who sees the pattern, and he's like, oh, just let it happen. We'll just beat it up like we always do.
Yeah, because it's important. It's like that kind of like that denial is like one of the stages of grief. You have to deny it before you can kind of accept it, you know? Like, that's how people deal with things. Naoto is no different. Nobody is different. Like, that's the whole point of Persona 4 is that you're going to deny and deny and deny and deny until eventually you come to terms with yourself. You know? And Kanji is the most perceptive of the lot. To just go like, oh right, it's kind of just vital to a person to just deny it until they can't anymore. And hey, we're badasses, we can handle the boss fight that comes with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially because Naoto's boss fight is a total busta.
Super easy.
Super easy. But yeah, like, God, Kanji is so fucking good as a character.
His social link is great. Again, Troy Baker's delivery is great. Like, everything about this character is just fun.
He's fun and he's really funny. And again, I'm gonna say this a lot. That's because Troy Baker, his line reading is incredible. There's a reason he's like one of the best like paid and most prolific voice actors ever, and it started with Kanji. I mean, yeah, his first real major role was Yuri Lowell, and he was good as Yuri, but like his chance to really shine was as Kanji, and I mean, he just knocked it out of the park.
Oh, he nailed it.
I mean, his line reading is so on point for like exactly the kind of character that Kanji is, that like... And the crazy thing about what kind of a voice actor Troy Baker is, he came back, and I mean, like, some people say that it's Matt Mercer doing his lines in The Golden. It's not, it's Troy Baker. Troy Baker came back for The Golden, and the craziest thing, and it really speaks to how amazing of a voice actor Troy Baker is, he came back for the extra new lines in The Golden, and he sounds better.
Yeah, he really does.
He came back to play the same character after like 3 years, and usually that doesn't happen. If you go back to a character, like, you can tell the difference. See Adachi in Ultimax, oh my god.
Yeah.
So bad. But he came back to it, and in the extra scenes, like in the original Persona 4, the maxed out scene, like the scene where you max the social link, wasn't voiced. They only voiced it for The Golden. And the line reading in that scene is some of the best voice acting in the entire franchise. Mm-hmm. Because he really sells this whole idea of just like being just like this guy who was just like, I lost control of myself, and I don't know, I woke up and I realized I was just running wild. And he gets like really legitimately, he sounds like really realistically choked up in certain parts.
Yeah.
And just like those emotions feel so real, and it's because Troy Baker is such a good goddamn voice actor.
He's really good at his job.
He's so good at his job. Please come back to Persona. I miss you so much. I mean, Matt Mercer's really, really good too, but it's not the same without you, Troy. Come back. Baby, come back. Yeah, I mean, just, there are so many little moments of Kanji being so good. Like, after you save him, when he's gone from being like the little shit kid punk to being like really, really respectful.
Yeah.
And like, or the part when they're like, we can't figure any of this out, and there's this pause, and he's like, why are you guys so down on yourself? I think you're amazing.
Right?
Like, what a good kid. Ben, he's a good kid.
He's a really good, and he's got some of the funniest lines in the series.
Oh my god, what, is he like killing him with a TV or something? No, Kanji, focus.
Or when he at one point where he just gives up and eats animal crackers.
Oh, and I mean, like, taking you punks down. Like, all of these scenes are so like, he's such a funny character, and not, like, in a try-hard funny, either. It's, again, the voice acting is what's doing it. But he's just, like, a really funny character, and he gets all of the good lines, he gets all of the good emotional story beats, like the part where he tells his shadow, like, hey, I know anybody who's me isn't so weak that they can't take a punch. Like, he gets all of the best moments in the whole game. I mean, all of the really great moments belong to Kanji every single time without fail.
I also love that, like, the story of him beating up those bikers continues to escalate.
Yes! Like that one kid who said, like, I heard Kanji Tatsumi took down a group of bikers and a bear with nothing but a broken bottle.
Or, like, I think, if I remember right, I think it's the one point where, like, an NPC mentions that, like, he literally hoisted a motorcycle over his head.
Yes. And then you found out that he did it because they were making a lot of noise and his mom couldn't sleep.
Yeah!
He's a good kid, Brant.
He's such a good kid.
He's just, I mean, he's so likable and relatable, and just every one of his lines and all of the little problems going through his head, all of, like, the self-doubt and the worries and, like, the fears of, like, his mom dying and, like, you know, how you're perceived versus how you want to be perceived, and kind of dealing with the fact that your interests don't align with, like, the normal societal rules of what girls and guys are supposed to like. Like, those are such relatable, normal problems that, like, go through everybody's head, you know?
And yeah, so you have this kid who, like, his dad's gone, and his mom owns a textile shop, and he grew up, and he got really interested in that. And he didn't have a male role model to look up to. And so, when the time comes, because he didn't have that growing up, and he's like, oh, the thing I like is bad? And, like, he doesn't know how to compensate. And so he goes in the complete opposite direction, and that just makes it worse for him, because now everyone's afraid of him. And he's this, and Kanji's not a bright kid. No, he's not.
He's not.
He doesn't know how to deal with this. He doesn't know what to do, because he doesn't, there's no one he can talk to help him think through this.
And so it's just kind of like, well, I'll just keep escalating, and if everybody's going to be scared of me, then I'll give them a reason to really be scared of me. And, like, that's the wrong way to go about it. But, I mean, he doesn't really know any other way to act. Until, you know, it kind of, you know, eventually really, like, literally slaps him in the face, where it's like, well, you've got to come to terms with this now, buddy. Like, you're not that weird, you know? You worry, again, it's this idea of you worry yourself so much for no reason. You know?
And, like, that really comes through in the social link where they're like, Kanji, your mom's in the hospital, and he immediately thinks that something happened to her, and again, because you're never given any indication that, like, his mom is sick, or, like, she has any health problems, or that she's, like, older, or whatever. But, like, you're still, his immediate thought is something happened to her. Like, she got hurt, or she got sick, or something is wrong, and I need to go over there now.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's the same thing. It was like, he immediately jumps to the worst possible scenario.
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, you know, it's just like with Yukiko, where he just kind of, you think yourself in circles, and you worry so much about things that don't really matter in the grand scheme of things, and instead of just being, like, coming to terms with it and being content with yourself, you're gonna try and push back against it. Like, these are all, that's what makes Persona 4 so amazing, is that these are such normal problems for everybody to have, and, like, I mean, these are things that everybody is afraid of.
Yeah, know? And it's interesting, like, between Yukiko and Kanji, like, Yukiko dealt with it by just shutting down.
Yeah, exactly. And
like,
just being,
she just
like,
stopped
going along with it, yeah.
Yeah. And then Kanji deals with it by lashing out and getting more and more frustrated, and letting that anger and that frustration just keep building up in a cycle.
Yeah. And neither of them are the right neither of them are right, you know?
Yeah. It's just different ways of trying to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just so it's and then he finds this group of kids who, yeah, they make fun of him, but they've seen him at his worst, and they're like, yeah, dude, we know.
Yeah, like they don't care.
It's just, yeah, it's like, we get it, welcome to the team.
Yeah, like, welcome aboard. This is how we all are. Trust me, it's fine. Like, it's a nice thing to kind of find a place where you kind of fit, because once you do, it feels more like, well, you can kind of just be yourself in a normal way, and it's really just, he says at one point that Rise saw the stuff he made, and at first she thought it was kind of weird, and then she thought about it more, and she's like, oh no, this is actually pretty cool, Kanji. Like, that's really cute.
Yeah.
I think, like, if you can just be cool with yourself, then other people will eventually be cool with you too. Oh, it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good kid.
I also love the bit where he's talking about his problems and stuff, and then like someone in the seat behind him like unknowingly laughs at the big hulking guy who likes to sew.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of stands up and he's like, who are you talking about? And he's like, oh yeah, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't make it, oh yeah, the big tough burly guy likes girly things. That's hilarious. Maybe you shouldn't make fun of him because he's still a really big guy.
He's still taller than all of the adult characters in Persona 4 and could easily kick your skinny ass. Maybe be nice to him, Like, he doesn't want to fight. He seems like a nice kid who just really wants to stay out of trouble and stop making his mom's life hard. But he can kick your ass if he wants to. Like, be nice to Kanji, people.
And I love that, like, again, thanks to Arena and Ultimax, like, the PS2 models in Persona 4 are not good. They are very low quality, and you don't get a really good sense of the character's proportions.
No.
Until you see the sprite work in Arena, and you realize just exactly how big Kanji is.
Kanji is ripped as fuck! Kanji's so jacked! Holy shit, in Arena! Oh my god!
Kanji is Jotaro Kujo ripped.
He's so jacked! Holy shit! Like, he's like rip a phone book in half on accident jacked. Oh my god.
Like, he's on par with Akihiko, who is in his 20s.
And does this for, who works out almost professionally at this point.
Like, Akihiko enters Arena, he's like, I just got back from the mountains.
From, fighting street thugs in Brazil or whatever. I got back from this crazy training regimen, and Kanji is, just as jacked as him, just from kind of, hanging out in Inaba,
Right?
Oh, and I remember the other amazing line that Kanji got. Obviously, I'm gonna build it back twice as good as it was before. I'm gonna renovate your ass.
No, everyone loves the I'm gonna renovate your ass line, and it's really good, don't get me wrong. The better line is the response. Which is, okay then.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah, just the ramen shop owners are like, okay, okie dokie.
So good.
Because I'm sure, that's not the first time Kanji has, quote-unquote, threatened the ramen shop owner.
Yeah, for sure. And
gotten mad about something. Oh, I love Kanji.
I do. I feel like we really could probably... If you gave me a little prep time, I could probably do a full podcast about Kanji. I won't. But, if we ever have, a gap in the schedule.
If we ever have, a point where, we don't have anything to talk about this week, we'll just talk about a Persona 4 character.
We'll just talk about Kanji for 5 hours. It's fine. Listen, Kanji is the best character. Nobody would mind. Because Kanji is everybody's favorite Persona 4 character.
I love him. And what's also, really weird is, in Golden, in the epilogue of Golden, where you're like, oh, yeah, he dyes his hair.
Oh, yeah! You have to remember that suddenly. You're like, oh, right.
It's not like an anime thing where he just has blonde hair. No, it's canon that he dyes it. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's right. That's a thing that you... Because you know, it's such an anime game that you're like, you know, Minato had blue hair.
Sure.
In Persona 3, so you're just like, whatever, he's blonde. I've seen anime before.
Mitsuru has red hair for some rando reason. It's cool. I don't mind. Whatever. It's fine. This is an anime video game where characters shouldn't just have crazy colored hair. But no, Kanji actually does bleach his hair to look more like a punk. And I actually really like black-haired Kanji. It's actually really cute. Like,
it is.
At first, I was like, I don't think I like this. And then I thought about it more, and I was like, wait, I actually love this. Like,
because he wears the glasses and he has the button-up shirt, and you're like, oh no.
But he's really cute and respectable looking now, and it's like he's really trying.
And you know his mom made him do it because your best friend's coming back. You need to look nice for your best friend.
Totally. Oh,
like,
absolutely.
I can imagine he decided to stop dyeing his hair, but his mom picked out that shirt for him to wear.
His mom picked out that outfit for sure. Like, he wanted to wear the leather jacket again, and his mom was like, you're not gonna dress like that for your friend coming back to town. And so she made him put on a collared shirt and sent his ass outside. But he looks cute, and I'm just like, always making an effort. That's so nice. It's just heartwarming, damn it. It's heartwarming! My heart is warmer! So, yeah, I love him.
Yeah, one more little fun fact. I like something that clicked for me like literally last week.
What's that?
So Kanji has a tattoo, right?
Yeah.
On his left arm, and
it's a fake, is it?
It's unclear, but it disappears when he's wearing when he's in like the spa, like the towel.
Yeah.
It disappears. The reason is because you're not allowed to wear tattoos in saunas in Japan.
Oh yeah.
So you have to. So he's covering it up.
Or the lamer option is that it's it's like a press-on tattoo. I don't know which option I like more, honestly. I kind of love the idea.
I wanna believe it's real, because even more dumb than, you know, him just constantly reapplying a temporary tattoo would be imagining begging his mom to let him get it.
You're so right.
Okay, imagine the 3-day grovel fest he went on. Because Ma, it looks so cool, it's fine, I want to get it, I know what I'm doing, it's going to be really cool, you don't have to get me a birthday present this year, can I have the tattoo, please?
And it's just a shitty skull and crossbones tattoo. You're right. You know what? I like your option more, where it is real, but it's just a really crappy tattoo. You know what I mean? Like, because that's such a 15-year-old thing, too. Like, trying so hard to seem like a big tough guy is to get a tattoo, da-da-da. And then, like, it's just, like, the worst tattoo ever.
Like, there's probably, like, a local tattoo artist in Inaba somewhere that, like, is not very good at it, but it's the only one around, so he got just the most generic, basic-looking one.
It's somebody who, like, doesn't even have, like, a tattoo parlor. It's, like, somebody operating out of their, like, house, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think I like that. I think I like your idea more than mine. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, he's a good kid. That's all I gotta say. You know who else is good?
Who is good?
Rise.
It's Rise.
It's Rise. Rise, best girl.
Rise is the best girl. She is the only waifu worth waifuing in the game.
She's the best waifu.
You can't waifu Chie and Yukiko because they're a couple. You can't waifu Naoto because, you know, gets Kanji's girl.
Don't be the green Madoka. That's the point I'm trying to make here.
You're not going to what? You're going to waifu a non-party member? Get real.
Get the fuck out of here. Who does that? Leave. And anyways, of the non-party members, who are you gonna waifu? Who is a train wreck, or one of the Sun Girls, who are both awful? No. One who looks like she's like 10, which is creepy, and like, oh my god, could you imagine dating Yumi Aizawa? I would kill myself. Oh my
god.
I would kill myself. Like, a literal drama queen with none of the good qualities.
She is a drama queen in literally every sense of the word, and I would not have the patience.
I could not. There is some soul out there who has that patience, but I am not one of them. So no. Obviously, Rise is best girl, and it's great because not only is she the only acceptable waifu, but it's fine because she's the best waifu anyway.
She's incredible. I love Rise Kujikawa.
I love Rise Kujikawa. I love her story. I love her social link. I love her characterization. I love that she is just a teenage girl who's willing to go, yeah, I'm really hot for guys because I'm a normal person with a functioning body. You know?
It's because you never really get that. You never get a character who's, like, flirty and then actually does flirt with people.
And is totally cool with it. Like, she's not, she's just kind of, like, blasé about it. She's like, yeah, I flirt with people because I'm a normal person, and that's what people do. Like, I like boys, so I'm going to flirt with boys. That's what, you know, girls do. Like, it's so bizarre to me that people think this is a strange thing about Rise's character, and if I see one more goddamn person saying that, I'm gonna, like, find them. Because this is how teenage girls act. When they like somebody, they get giggly, and they, you know, they agree with them more. These are, like, normal teenage things that, again, they're like people.
I love that, like, Rise's willing to, like, test the water, to, like, test the limits with that kind of thing. Like, she has that thing, like, if you romance her and then you take her to the shrine in Golden, like, late game.
Yeah, at the, on New Year's?
Yeah, and then she's like, hey, raise your hand if you're thinking something dirty.
Yeah, it's so
and she's
great.
like, wait, just me? Oh.
Okay.
Because you know, it's more like Soju just, like, he probably was, but he's like, wait, what?
I'm not gonna say that at a shrine. I think that gets you sent to hell. But she's so good, because again, even though she has a kind of, like, her background is, like, really not relatable to, especially to an American audience, because we just don't have the concept of idols, finger quotes.
Oh yeah, totally.
Even then, like, I cannot wrap my mind around the idea of why anybody would ever want to be an idol. Ever.
Oh my god, right? Like, why would you put yourself through that? Like, there are other avenues of performing you can go through.
Please, Jesus Christ.
Like if you like singing and, you know, being on stage, like, there are other things you can do.
There are other ways than becoming, like, just the creepiest, just surrounded by the creepiest people in the creepiest avenue of work, who are all really, really invested in, like, your finger quotes purity.
Yeah.
She's 15. It's so weird. Like, no, I don't understand, like, why anybody would put themselves through it, but you know what? She wants to do it, she's good at it, so fine, I guess. And, like, even then, with all of that, like, her personal issues still manage to feel really relatable.
Well, yeah, because no matter what, you can still... Because it's not so much like, oh, I'm having trouble being an idol. It's, I don't know who Rise Kujikawa is.
Yeah, again.
And it's like, yeah, dude, I can connect to, like, I don't know who, like, the person who's like, I don't know what is my real personality with this? Like, out of the people I talk to, out of the things that I feel, the way I feel about certain things, like, which of those is actually me, and which of them is what society expects of me that I've just sort of internalized.
Right, yeah, because, like, everybody has a different personality around, like, your mom, or around your friends. You talk different to your real friends than you talk to your, like, internet friends. I talk differently to my internet friends, and my real friends, and my work friends in 3 completely different ways, and I don't know if, like, the way I act one place is compatible with the way I act in another place. And then the question is, like, which one of those is the actual you? And the answer is, well, they're all kind of you. You know?
Yeah.
And, like, that's so relatable. And that's a word that's going to get thrown around a lot. That's already been thrown around a lot in this podcast.
Because it's persona, and it's all about relating to these characters in any way you can. Like, no matter what the topic is, like, you're going to find some way to connect to them. And, like, for me, with Rise, it was connecting to I don't know if I can handle all the responsibility that my job wants of me.
Yeah.
You know? Because, like, that's something that, like, you get from school or from anything where it's just like, I'm a kid and you're putting all of this on me.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if I can handle it, and I don't know if I'm ready for it, and you know, I don't know what to do with myself. So yeah, those are all like, God, it's so just, and especially just the way she kind of handles it, and the way it really freaks her out. Especially just kind of like the meltdown she has, like toward the end of the social link.
She ends up just crying on the side of the road.
Yeah, because she's like, I don't know what I want to do with myself, you know? Like, that is so human. Like, even if she is an idol in Japan and she's 15, like, that is such a human, normal feeling for anybody, you know? Like, no, nobody knows what they want to do with themselves. It's fine. You know? Don't worry yourself so much about it.
Yeah, like, she's, so, like, yeah, because how many of, like, people have been there, like, they've been on the verge of, like, I'm going to have a nervous breakdown here in public situations, and, like, so, yeah, like, it's even the most unrelatable concept, which is a 15-year-old idol in Japan, you can still be like, yeah,